Welcome to Hill TV. Here are the segments you have to look forward to in this video. A trip down memory lane, an interview with Dr. Bender regarding the Hill Archives, an update on the East Village Faculty Housing Project, and a movie review on The Hobbit featuring Father Houghton and Mr. Steinman.
Dr. Henry Bender retired from the Hill School as the Elizabeth Blossom Chair of Humanities and Chair of Classical Languages. His contributions to the Hill School go far beyond his former role as the instructor of Latin and Greek. Take, for instance, the discovery he made in spring of 1999 when he took up a new office in what had been the Hill School's history department. While cleaning up the room's bookshelves, Dr. Bender found 4 authentic pictures of Abraham Lincoln. Since 2009, Dr. Bender has been in charge of a huge collection of items donated by Hill alumni and kept by the school. With the assistance of Mrs. Salon and Mr. Jeffries, Dr. Bender was able to organize that collection of items and transform them into an easy, accessible archives. Located on the 3rd floor of the library, the archives are hidden from the students, but nonetheless of great importance to the school. Now, let us begin our trip down memory lane with Dr. Bender.
The past weekend was filled with exciting Hill games. Starting off the excitement with a series of alumni playoff games. Hill alums from various years returned to the Hill to compete in friendly games against each other. Among the notable games, a close basketball game where the Gray team triumphed after a back-and-forth contest that had family friends on the edge of their seats. Our current Hill teams also had a memorable week. During the varsity girls basketball game against Hun, the stands were packed with students holding up photos of Deanna Meza in anticipation of her astounding accomplishment. Deanna scored her 1,000th point in her career. The boys basketball game was also very intense, although we lost to Hun. And now for our Rams of the Week. Sydney Charlton, 3rd former, JV girls basketball. Johnny Chernesky, 6th former, varsity wrestling. Kostya Globakov, 4th former, varsity wrestling. Maggie Dupree, 6th former, girls indoor track. Drew DeAngelis, 6th former, varsity boys basketball. Sam Norton, 4th former, varsity boys basketball. Maddie Litwich, 3rd former, varsity diving. And Nate Smith-Hyde, 6th former, varsity boys.
I'm Mr. Steinman. I'm here today with Father Houghton.
Hi.
And we went to see The Hobbit at the midnight release over at the Movie Tavern in Collegeville. The Hobbit is the prequel to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, where a group of dwarves recruits young Bilbo Baggins on a quest to defeat the evil dragon Smaug, of course being led by Gandalf the Grey, characters that you have probably heard of from the original Peter Jackson trilogy. And yeah, this was a chance for Peter Jackson to get it right, as Father Houghton would probably say. And what did you think of it, sir?
A chance for me to get it right, yes, but I think that's as far as we'd go. Jackson's policy, as near as I can tell, is that every time he looks at something from Tolkien, it needs to have more women, more violence, shorter time period, and possibly more potty jokes. And he achieved all of that with The Hobbit.
So I'm guessing from your cynicism that you did not enjoy the film that much.
No, though it lived up to my expectations.
Okay, that's fair. Well, just for a basis, you did not, in fact, like the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
No, they stank too, so.
Okay, that's fair. I was a very big fan of The Fellowship of the Ring. I really enjoyed that film. I felt like they were getting somewhere. I felt like it was an adventure. And there was actual characterization and some restraint in terms of special effects and battle scenes. And then as the trilogy kind of wore on, I grew less and less interested as things became bigger and the budget started to increase and more CGI, more characters, more action. And this movie kind of felt like the culmination of all that, where action scenes just kind of kept happening for no really good reason.
I agree with you. I think he feels that he has to appeal to the, I hate to say it, but the Dungeons and Dragons set.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and as you've heard me say, I remember when my box of Dungeons and Dragons came in a little cardboard box. So I'm with him, but he has this sense that if he doesn't throwing a dwarf around, he has to be killing a troll. One or the other has to be happening in virtually every scene.
I think there were some moments of brilliance in this movie, though. The riddles in the dark section.
Everyone likes that.
That is a scene that is so well captured in the original book. I believe there were rewrites after Tolkien wrote the original book.
Right. In the first version of The Hobbit, Bilbo just finds the ring, and this whole affair is worked out differently. So after he got to the Lord of the Rings, he had to have a more threatening version of how all this happened. So he actually rewrites The Hobbit and, in fact, inserts a footnote explaining that this now is the version that Bilbo eventually fessed up to, as opposed to what Bilbo originally wrote. Part of the game there that Tolkien is actually interested in, and part of the reason that the movie works in that bit, is that this is one of the places where Tolkien is playing with his interest in Old Norse, Old Anglo-Saxon things. There's a much more famous riddling scene where a giant is accosted by a mysterious wanderer with an eye patch and a gray hat. And in Norse mythology, you should always be wary of wanderers with eye patches and gray hats. Yeah. And so the giant foolishly bets his head that he will win a riddle contest with this guy. So they riddle back and forth, much like Bilbo and Gollum do. And just like Bilbo and Gollum, eventually the guy with the eye patch and the gray hat cheats, because his last riddle is, what did Odin whisper into the ear of Balder the Brave as they pushed his funeral ship away from Valhalla? And the giant realizes that he's been playing the riddle game with Odin.
Right.
and loses his head.
You've kind of lost.
Yeah.
I think overall I enjoyed the film for what it was. I thought there were some fun action scenes, some fun character development. Martin Freeman was very enjoyable as Bilbo.
Martin Freeman was perfect.
Andy Serkis, obviously still playing the CGI character of Gollum, was also enjoyable. I really started to feel that they made the announcement that they were going to make this 3 films at about 2.5 hours apiece, and I felt like there was a lot of filler in this movie that could have been taken out. I think there's a really, really good half of a 3-hour movie in here, and instead it's 2.5 hours, maybe a little long in the tooth, to play up your point of too many battle scenes, too many action scenes.
I think so too. I mean, in one sense, I could go to, here's the introduction, here are the credits, and leave out everything in between, but if you're going to have a movie by Peter Jackson, then a much shorter movie by Peter Jackson would have been better. There's no question.
Right. I think people will still enjoy it, so I would recommend going to see it. I think also the fact that this is a trilogy, you're going to be moving into 2 more parts. There's lots and lots of fun that's going to happen, more and more CGI. But overall, enjoyable. I don't think it really lives up to the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the spectacle there. But I'd say give it a shot, and let's see where we end up for the next 2 movies.
You still got beautiful scenery and a little bit of CGI. Never hurt anybody.
Too much, though.
Could be.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.